Hello and welcome to a Monday edition of the Managing Madrid Podcast. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobhani, joined by my good friend, Lucas Navarrete. We are doing our El Dia Después segment. This is actually 2 days after Real Madrid play, not one day, but we are going to go over some lingering talking points from the win over Arandina and just some other thoughts in 20 minutes or less, because that's our time frame today. So, Lucas, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing fine. Glad that the holidays are over now. I'm a bit tired of all these family meals and all that. I know that it's obviously nice to be around family, but as long as we're kind of forced to do it, and I often kind of relieved after it's all over. Yeah.
You and me both, man. I am glad to be back in the routine. I miss my routine. I'm a routine guy. I'd like to bring something to your attention really quick before we jump in. March 11th. Do you know what's special about that day?
No, not really.
The reigning champions, Denver Nuggets, travel to Toronto to face the new look Raptors, who are now 3-1 versus are 3-1 since the big trade, and just dismantled the Warriors last night thanks to RJ Barrett's 37 points. Lucas, nervous laughter. I can sense it. I can sense the nervous laughter. What was up with Jokic? Had a very human-like game last night. I don't know what happened there.
Well, I don't know if it's human to deliver 16 assists from your centers, from your center anyway. Yeah, but he had
The
more blocks
Sanders
than
are
shot
such.
attempts. Yeah.
He was
He
just
had more
coasting.
blocks than shot attempts. Yeah, definitely. You can see it.
Okay. Arandina. Of all the games that there might be things to talk about after that game. There's not much other than probably Arda Guler. So why don't we start with that?
I liked him. I liked him a lot. I thought that he showed a lot of promise. I could definitely see his technical ability. I think that's what jumps out when you actually take a look at his game. I think that the most obvious skill set he has is his technical ability, right? So I thought that he looked more than fine, all things considered, considering that he's been out for pretty much half a year. Also, for a skilled player like him, I think that the state of the field of the grass was a big handicap. So the fact that he was still able to make an impact and kind of prove his worth in that department was spoke volumes, at least for me. So I was more than satisfied with what he was able to do against Arandina, who definitely are a more than mediocre team. They are semi-professional. So it's true that it would be interesting to see how Arda Guler looks against a more composed and solid team than Arandina. But overall, I thought that definitely positive signs and encouraging signs from Arda in that debut game.
Well, I would argue against the better teams. I think I'm excited, and I think he'll look better,
Maybe.
probably because he'll be surrounded with better players. We didn't field our A team, and he'll go from linking up with Nico Paz and Vinicius Tobias to linking up with Fede Valverde, Danny Carvajal, Jude Bellingham, etc. And again, but I don't know like how much we'll see of that right away, and I still don't see who he starts over. And I don't think that's the intention this season anyway, for him to be a starter, but rather to acclimatize himself with La Liga and gradually integrate him. Maybe he'll start here and there, but not definitely not every game. But he'll maybe grow in minutes and prominence off the bench. But I was very impressed. I think everybody was pretty impressed. But it's very early and it's against, like you mentioned, you said mediocre. I think that's extremely generous and polite. I
Yeah.
mean, they're terrible. So, yeah, I think we're all on board for now. I mean, it's going to be exciting. One thing I will warn you, man, the Turkish fan base
Oh yeah.
is hot and heavy. So
Yeah.
just I was telling Diego this before we started recording that like I'm kind of worried for him to have a bad game, because then we'll have to say he had a bad game or he like misplaced some passes and we'll get the army after us. But jokes aside, half jokes aside,
Half jokes, yeah.
half jokes aside, it's a fun player to have, a mature player to have, very silky on the ball. I always give bonus points to players who play with a bounce and elegance to them. And I think Arda Guler plays with that kind of bounce and elegance that I'm excited to see unfold.
Definitely. Now hoping that he's healthy and is able to keep contributing and developing for the next few months, if not years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest question mark, no question. Was there anything else from that game that caught your eye?
Not to me, Ceballos, another subpar performance. So hopefully he kind of picks it up from here and starts contributing in a better way. But not really. I always think it's very difficult to draw any kind of notes or relevant conclusions about after these really early games in the Copa del Rey. So it's very hard for me to draw any significant conclusions. So Arda Guler remains the biggest talking point for me after that game. And about the Turkish fan base you mentioned, I think this might be the most aggressive fan base we've faced since the Colombian army with James Rodriguez in 2014-15. That was an extreme back in the day. And I think it will be yet another challenge for us in regards of how we cover Arda Guler. Obviously, if he's good, we'll still have to mention maybe whenever he performs badly that he has not been at his level. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Turkish army takes some of the reports or analysis about him. We'll see.
I did want to ask you about something that I've been very quiet on intentionally. And I tried to be quiet about it as much as I could have last summer, but there was only so much you could be quiet about it. We always knew when January was going to roll around that the rumors about Mbappe were going to start again. In December, there were a couple of reports in The Athletic, and that was around Christmas time, I think, if I remember correctly. And so there was a little bit of a head start on it, but in the last couple of days, it's heated up again. What is your take? What have you heard? What is your assessment of this situation? Because there's conflicting reports. There is, at this point, to me, like a lack of trust in everyone who reports about this, because everyone's just been wrong about it basically for years. But what's happening? And I just like the big report from Spain was that he has agreed, not from a reliable source. Then the Times are denying it, and the Times is not a great source either. I don't know what to believe, and I don't know what to think, and for that reason, I'm just kind of out on this whole thing until something actually happens.
Same, I completely agree. I think that I have kind of refused to get my hands very dirty on this topic because I've realized for many years now that it's not something that not a single reliable Real Madrid source I have or I can approach is going to tell me anything that is not supposed to be leaked, and then we know how that goes. So the conflicting reports, everything is just so frustrating seeing Real Madrid involved in this once again for the 6th or 7th time, I think, for this player. This player keeps refusing to kind of make a statement, if you will, and kind of prove that he wants to play for Real Madrid. I just way over it. I think that Real Madrid should just kind of refuse themselves to kind of even send a single offer to him. No matter how great of player he is, he should not treat Real Madrid in this way. I think he's kind of using Real Madrid for leverage with other clubs. For PSG, he's been doing this for years, while we keep kind of, we are still getting fed the whole narrative of his dream is one day to play for Real Madrid. Well, guess what? He could have made his dream come true 5 times over the last 5 years, and he ended up not taking that road. So I'm way over it. I think Real Madrid should just end this saga now via official statement saying that all the reports saying that they're interested in Kylian Mbappe are just not true. It's just that simple to me.
No, I don't think. Look, but
He's kind of laughing at Real Madrid at this point, man.
No, but this is where I disagree with you on this, because I think I don't even really necessarily want to get to the point of blaming Mbappe for all this either and say that he's toying with us, because
what are you going to blame though?
No, the media for fabricating most of the shit, because I don't blame Real Madrid because none of us really know the actual truth. We can't assume that everything we read about his side being the evil side is true either. At no point has he publicly spoken that he was going to join Real Madrid. When has he ever done that to lead us on? Everything was reported that like, oh, he wants to. Do we actually know the truth apart from these reports? Last summer, to me, I remember like last summer, at no point did he say he was going to join us. Like that never happened, and we all got mad at him collectively for not coming when it was made up to begin with. So why are we mad at him now again?
I don't think it's made up, entirely made up. Made up is not the right. I don't think it's the right way to take the whole circumstances here. The fact that, he's been kind of leading Real Madrid towards thinking that he wants to join, at least, right? He's done at least that. You have to give me that at least.
Contract with PSG, whether like that's the reality. That's what he's doing, is he not? So like at this point, like, and I'm not here to. This is not like a monologue about the moral superiority of Kylian Mbappe. I'm not here to do that. All I'm saying is, does he not have the right to make his decision at the end of the season when his contract runs out? He has to do it now, and he has to say yes or no. And do we even know what he's thinking? Like, we have no idea. Like, there's like him and his family who knows, and that's it. Like, so where would anyone get this information from? Like, so last summer I thought your reporting was bang on about Mbappe. I thought it was accurate, and it was what you knew, and it was in line with, from what I know and from what I have been shown by people of the Spanish media who have Florentino on their WhatsApp. They've shown me their conversations with Florentino on their WhatsApp, and it was exactly in line with what you were reporting, which was we have not submitted an offer, and we're not going to, and there was never an offer last summer. And the people that I know actual direct communication with Florentino, and there's only a handful of them from what I understand, none of those people right now are really saying anything. And so that's why I'm not even jumping in on this thing. And the easiest thing right now to do as a journalist is just to make shit up about Mbappe. It's the engagement is off the chains, and I hate it. It's stupid, but it's just like, I feel like it's just hysteria. So I feel like even this podcast is kind of adding to the hysteria. But I think, to me, the purpose of this segment on the podcast is to go the other way and just tell people, like, tone it down. We don't know anything. And that's my point.
Wouldn't you say, Kiyan, that it's more likely that he or his camp are leaking this stuff and these rumors to the members of the media rather than the members of the media making stuff up, though?
It's possible, but I think it might be.
And I'm not talking about I'm talking about big members of the media like L'Equipe, RMC, these members, Le Parisien, all that. Sure. So he's using Madrid for leverage, man. If this is the case, unless all these three media outlets from France are literally making stuff up, he or his camp are using Real Madrid for leverage and to increase his next contract for PSG. And this is what's happened for the last 2 years or so, when these rumors from French media have said Mbappe is not going to sign a new contract with PSG. Real Madrid have submitted an offer, all that. And at the end of the day, he signs for PSG. And again, I think it's public, and this is not something made up, that his quote unquote dream is to play for Real Madrid. Has he actually said this in the past? He released a comic, I think, with his own signature, saying that his dream was to play for Real Madrid.
Yeah, when he was a kid, he loved Zidane and Ronaldo. Like, that's obviously very public information. But the actual,
he had the opportunity to actually made that dream come true.
Sure.
4 times for the last 5 years. And not only he refused to sign for Real Madrid, which I'm fine with. I mean, he has every right to, but he showed no interest in showing Real Madrid respect. Real Madrid were playing a Champions League final on a Saturday, and the previous Thursday he was in the public saying that he kind of turned Real Madrid down. He actually said he turned Real Madrid down. Not only he said he was going to sign a contract with PSG, he mentioned Real Madrid, thanked Florentino. So he kind of acknowledged the fact that Real Madrid were the sweeters there. And he kind of left Real Madrid very exposed, very vulnerable, 2 days ahead of a Champions League final. The coach and the players were getting questions about Mbappe 2 days ahead of a Champions League final. Mbappe put Real Madrid in that position. So I'm tired of how he's dealing with the whole situation and how he's treated Real Madrid during these negotiations. I'm just tired. I think he showed no respect and no real interest in joining Real Madrid one way or another.
Just to play devil's advocate. So he chose to play for PSG instead of us in that year.
And he made it public, leaving Real Madrid exposed 2 days ahead of Champions League final. That's kind of huge to me.
So you would have been okay with it if he did it after the Champions League final?
So it was definitely just better. The timing was very appropriate for PSG. Let's say that.
PSG. How much of it do you think was PSG wanted at that timing?
I mean, PSG were definitely wanting and pushing him to kind of announcing it there then, and he agreed to do that. So, again,
look, I'm not here to necessarily defend him, but I'm just trying to offer different perspectives that, like, because we still don't really know the exact truth, it's hard for me to sit here and vilify him. For just making decisions for his own career and never really publicly stating, like, to me, again, last summer was not him leading us on. Like, he was a PSG player and he had a contract and he wanted to honor that. And he actually made that clear. He said, I'm staying here. I'm not leaving this summer. He actually made that clear. And he has. Now we're in a situation where it's January. He has the right to have contract negotiations with us if he wants to. But he doesn't have to sign it now or announce it now midway through PSG's season when they have a Champions League campaign to run. They don't want distractions either. So I get it. Like, I get it. You know, it's just...
Real Madrid have every right to tell him your decision has to be made before January 15th.
Sure. And
if he's kind of still refusing to give an answer, he's once again showing no respect to Real Madrid. So... I want a definite. If I'm Real Madrid, I want a definite answer by January 15. And if you don't get a call, you don't get anything, this is over and for good. I'm not even calling you again.
How much do we know? Like, of course, Real Madrid have the right to ask for that, and I would try to ask for that too if I was Real Madrid, because I want to.
I would have done that in the past too. I mean, yeah.
He obviously has the right to respond however he feels accordingly in that situation. But part of me wonders how much an ultimatum like that from Real Madrid would actually be a bluff and not. If Mbappe would just, like, talk to Real Madrid and was like, listen, man, I have a whole half season here. We're trying to win a Champions League title. I'm not making this decision now. I would
stay there.
No, I don't think Real Madrid will do that. I think they're bluffing.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying this is what I would do. Real Madrid would once again beg him to join Real Madrid for, like they've done for the last 6 or 7 years. Like, again, how many times do you need to kind of realize that this player might not actually play for you?
I'm calling it now, Lucas. I'm going to put it all out there. It's either Mbappe or no one again. I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
If that's why I don't think there's any ultimatum for Real. That's why I think if the door will be open for him until the end of the transfer window, or the day he signs for PSG or another Premier League team or Real Madrid. whatever happens out of those three outcomes will happen at the day it happens. And until then, Real Madrid will leave the door open for him. And if they don't get him, they'll be like, well, Endrick's coming, so who cares? That's the way they'll do it.
I agree, and this is why I'm so frustrated, mind you. I mean, I'm more angry at Real Madrid than I am at Mbappe, really.
Sure. I get that. I actually get angry at Real Madrid more than I get angry at. I get that idea more. I understand if you're angry at Real Madrid more than if you were angry at Mbappe.
This is 100% my feeling. I'm more angry at Real Madrid than I am at Mbappe. I'm more angry at Real Madrid for not having a plan B, for not kind of, again, not showing self-respect or self-appreciation to kind of realize that this player has turned you down several times in the past. He had every right to, but again, Real Madrid also have every right to say, hey, man, how many times do we need to knock on your door? Like, it's over, man. We're not pursuing you the sixth time, no matter how great a player you are. Like, Real Madrid should. My opinion is that Real Madrid should take this approach, not pursue Mbappe. But I completely agree with your prediction. This is what's going to happen. Real Madrid will keep the door open for him until he announces his future, and it's either Mbappe or no one. I completely agree with you. Whoever is actually thinking that Haaland is the plan B and Haaland is going to be a Real Madrid player if Mbappe is not, even Mbappe doesn't sign for Real Madrid, it's just delusional. It's not what's going to happen.
But Haaland is the only other player that Real Madrid would sign, I think, if they could,
which is the big if.
But let's say, for example, if it's Osimhen they could sign, they'll just turn the other way.
No, absolutely. No chance.
But I know we have to wrap it up, but I just want to conclude with this. I think on some level, not having a plan B this summer is more justifiable than not having a plan B last summer. This summer, at least you have Endrick and you've seen what Bellingham can do. You can talk yourself into it.
Fine.
Last season was not a good idea to not have a plan B, and we got lucky that Bellingham scored and Ancelotti made it work. That's it. That's all. We got lucky there.
That's correct. Once you've seen that Bellingham is just world class and a top 3 player in the world, if not the best player in the world, again, you can talk yourself into maybe not having a plan B. I completely agree with you, but Bellingham bailed yourself out. Yeah.
All right. We made it with like 30 seconds to spare. We got to wrap it up now. Lucas, this was fun. We're going to do mailbag on Thursday or Friday this week?
Friday will be better for me.
Friday over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid to submit your questions and hear the answers to the questions. Make sure you remember, please. And Supercopa is on Wednesday. That's also for members only. So please make sure you're a member over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid or hit the YouTube memberships tab and do that in advance so you're not scrambling looking for the post-game show the night of. All right, Lucas, thank you, man.
Thank you, Kiyan.
Take care.
Talk to you on Friday.
Chatting.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.